No one anticipated this. She was on screen laughing and speaking the truth as usual 1 minute, and then her name and the word funeral were all over the place. The unadulterated firecracker of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Khadiyah "Katie" Lewis, passed away suddenly at the age of 44. Let's face it, this one is painful because Katie wasn't merely a supporting role. She was genuine, unvarnished, and never sugarcoated any. And now there are questions from everyone. Initially, there were very few rumors on social media and the news spread slowly. But in a matter of hours, Katie's name was going viral, fans were sharing videos of her most well-known moments, and tributes were pouring in from all directions. Young Jock, her ex-boyfriend, didn't even wait before delivering a heartfelt and obviously genuine tribute. This was genuine, unfiltered grief, not a scene from a television program. This is where things start to get weird, though. There was no information, no explanations, and no official cause of death. Nothing but a wall of silence. And you can be sure that people will begin digging when that occurs. Insiders, fans, and bloggers all wanted to know the truth. The stories then started to surface. Others claimed that she had been struggling behind the scenes, that the Katie we saw on TV wasn't the whole picture, that she had been avoiding people, that her laugh had become quieter, and that her posts had become more cryptic. If you've been following Love and Hip Hop for a while, you are already aware that Katie arrived with a bang. Fights, dramas, love triangles, and breakdowns were all part of her persona. However, when the cameras are not rolling, chaos ensues. She was having difficulties, according to some of her closest friends. She had a strong personality, but she also concealed her emotional stress, family drama, and mental health problems. You wouldn't notice the signs from the outside, but if you looked closely enough, you could see them. It appears that before she passed away, she had just started going to counseling. That alone says a great deal. It indicates that something must have broken, but she was making an effort to recover and deal with whatever was going on in her head. According to those close to her, she wasn't herself in the final days of her life. They claim that a particular incident or moment raised red flags, but nobody is revealing what it was. On record anyway. People are discussing how poorly the show handled everything. Some people believe that rather than improving things, being on Love and Hip Hop made them worse. On set, people are beginning to voice their opinions that real issues were disregarded because they didn't fit the plot and that drama was promoted. Mental health isn't a plot device, so if that's the case, it's a terrible shame. It's not just one person's fault if Katie was struggling and lamenting in ways that no one noticed in time. Some fans are angry, some are sad, and the majority are both. Videos of Katie defending herself, mocking those who mistreated her, and laughing uncontrollably are being shared online. Other people are criticizing the producers and questioning why no one intervened when it was obvious she wasn't feeling well. But the truth is still unknown. Everyone feels the loss, even though nobody is certain of what transpired in those final days. Regardless of whether you fought with her or loved her, Katie left an impression on everyone. What comes next is now the question. Katie's final days weren't raucous or dramatic, but rather quiet in an uncomfortable way. She missed public appearances she used to have, stopped attending events, and posted odd messages online when she did. Instead of begging for attention, the captions used phrases like "some pain doesn't show on the outside" or "tired of pretending." Fans initially dismissed it because social media is full of such things. In hindsight, though, it was a cry for assistance masquerading as a sigh. A few of Katie's closest friends have begun to voice their opinions. One of them claimed to have not heard Katie's genuine laugh in weeks and to feel as though her spirit was waning, as though she was present in the room but not truly there. Someone else said they would abruptly cancel plans or simply stop communicating with you. Silence becomes suspicious if you've always been the loudest person in the room. She was bothered by a heavy thing. One night came up repeatedly in conversation. A friend claims that Katie had a bad episode just a few days prior to her passing. Nobody is talking about what happened, but those who know her well say it was so bad that they tried to help her by checking in, calling, or going to see her. It is still unclear. We may never fully understand what transpired behind closed doors, but that much is certain. Emergency personnel were summoned to her home when she passed away. Outside, there were sirens, a few desperate phone calls, and then nothing. No crowd, no large media circus. She had passed away by the time the news spread. No information was provided, and her family remained silent after she was declared dead at the scene. There was nothing but nothing, and that silence allowed a variety of theories to flourish: an accident, a mental health crisis, or natural causes. No one can be certain. Young Jock and KD have experienced highs and lows, so his tribute struck a different chord. He seemed to speak from the heart when he spoke. She was difficult to understand, he said, but she was real, and you don't see people like that very often. Because Jock had seen the Katie that fans hadn't, the one who loved fiercely, fought fiercely, and always put her loved ones first, people became emotional. It's absurd that Katie's poor performance wasn't more evident in the show. Never one to back down from a challenge, she was the spitfire on Love and Hip Hop. She was fascinating to watch, but when the cameras weren't rolling, it seemed like nobody really understood what was going through her mind. Or perhaps they didn't want to. According to current rumors, she attempted to discuss her need for a break with producers, asking for time off and possibly even assistance, but they failed to provide it. An anonymous former cast member stated, "We're all pushed to the edge for drama. You cry on camera, you fight, you scream, and then you go home and deal with the real damage. While some of us do leave, others do not." That line stuck because it's about everyone who aspires to be famous and pays a price that no one else sees, not just KD anymore. More than they want answers, fans want change. There is no amount of heartfelt Instagram posts or tribute videos that can restore what has been lost. Now that we have lost a woman with a broken heart and a wild spirit, we must determine what went wrong. Reality TV isn't meant to end like this. Instead of watching funerals, people watch Love and Hip Hop to witness drama, messy breakups, and fiery comebacks. This death broke that illusion, as McCoy puts it. When the drama abruptly ceased to be enjoyable and instead felt weighty and real, people began to question what they had been watching for all these years. Was it exploitation in the form of primetime storytelling, or was it merely for amusement? Not only were fans asking difficult questions, but producers, former members, and even network employees had to consider the system that made Katie famous and possibly let her down. The machine that converted her suffering into ratings didn't always provide her with a way out when the camera stopped rolling, which is the unpleasant reality that is now being spoken more loudly. Some employees came forward, but they remained anonymous. "We were instructed to push buttons if someone was going crazy," one individual remarked. That was a plot point, not a warning sign, and if it became too real, it was cut out. People were deeply affected by that type of confession, not only because KD did it, but also because it is a typical tale in the genre. Finally, a statement was released by the production team. For many fans and former cast members, it felt hollow, like a band-aid on a gunshot wound. Despite being brief, well executed, and packed with ideas and prayers, there were those who enjoyed the gesture and those who did not. "If you all really cared, you would have seen the signs before she died," a fan wrote in a tweet. The mental health community immediately jumped in, using Katie's passing to highlight the increasing demand for reality TV mental health support. According to them, these shows thrive on conflict, stress, and emotional weakness, but they rarely put in place mechanisms to support those who are bearing those burdens. According to Jake Watkins, "You can't put someone in a shark tank and then wonder why they're bleeding." According to them, the industry has an obligation to do more than just document the fallout. When fans began utilizing hashtags, Protect Reality Stars gained popularity. Justice for KD, but these weren't merely virtual homages, they were demands. People were asking, what are you doing right now to keep the next KD safe? Because let's face it, this will recur eventually if nothing changes. Calls for off-camera support networks, on-set mental health specialists, and required counseling were more forceful. These were actual changes that had to be made, not merely statements. While some cast members were in agreement with those demands, others chose to remain silent out of concern for their relationships. One thing was certain though, reality TV's foundation was shattered by Katie's passing. The genre cannot return to its previous state without appearing callous. There must be a shift. How about Katie's close friends and family? As the internet dissects her life like a plotline, they are grieving privately and are still working through everything. In a subdued homage, her sister shared a picture of Katie grinning with no caption. Beyond the news stories, gossip, and popular subjects, this is a real woman, a mother, a friend, and a daughter. And she's gone now. It spoke louder than words could ever. The cause of death has not yet been determined, and sometimes a report is not as powerful as silence. Perhaps, though, that is the point. This may not be about what killed KD, but rather about what failed to save her. The most painful aspect is that the show continued. The system failed to assist, and friends failed to notice. Her tale serves as a wake-up call in addition to being a tragedy. Every crazy reality TV moment has a person trying to maintain composure. Katie contributed her openness, honesty, and passion to the show.